Everything's running right now. Can't stand Safari. Let's start with Canvas. Okay, inside Canvas, I put some things I'm going to cover right now today, right here. Here we go. So, why is it doing this to me? Really, I have to duplicate this? Whatever. Jeez. Okay, forget about it. Okay, again, I'm going to go through the jQuery again, theme ruler. I'll work with an SVG again real quick. And if you want to learn how to do SVG by hand, you can click here, or you can learn the Illustrator. And then I'm just going to go through how to make a navigational bar. The other thing I'm going to cover will how to make an icon. The icon's in there. And then later on we'll learn how to make our own icons using the Icon Moon IO. And then I'm going to want you to practice. You should practice making your own jQuery page. And we'll talk about transitions a little bit today. So you should spend 5 hours this weekend working in jQuery. Okay, well, if you don't spend 5 hours this weekend working in jQuery, you're not going to learn it. Okay, so here's how I'm going to go about it. So I'm going to start again. This is February 23rd, right? Again, I'm going to start with the theme ruler. Again, starting with the theme ruler, I didn't like my ugly red that I was using last time, so I wanted to start. I'm going to do a national park one, and I want it to be green and kind of brownish looking. So again, I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to use the A set right here, the A set. And in the theme ruler, I'm going to, of course, adjust some colors. Not for the page. I'm going to leave that kind of default. I'm going to leave this kind of, the gray doesn't bother me as much as the header. For the color of the header, I want it to be kind of a national park green. So I'm going to kind of give it a national park green. The other thing I want to do is turn off the shadow. I don't want a shadow. So right here, you'll notice, if you look right here, you'll see that the text has this little highlight underneath it. If you just put 0 in there, it'll turn off your shadow. And then I'm going to change the text to a white. Maybe even a whitish. Maybe not pure white. How about whitish? I'm not sure. So again, I'm going to give it a greenish color for my header, and then I'm going to get rid of the shadow. Just because the shadow interferes with the rendering on a dark, I mean, you could give it a dark shadow if you wanted to. I mean, we could go and give it a shadow color of a dark shadow if you want, and then give it to 1 pixel. I don't know. You can't really see that. So you could do that if you wanted to. Again, this is a shadow that goes underneath the text there. And then for the body, I'm going to kind of leave it the same. Links are going to be blue, but I don't want them to be blue. I'm going to go with a kind of a more of a brownish color, a national park color. Now I'll leave the blue rollover color blue because that's kind of a default. People know blue is a link, but I just didn't like the blue with my green here. So I like brown and green. So you should really think about your colors and what colors you would use in some kind of app and whatever theme you're doing. Again, I'm going to do a national park kind of theme. And then, you know, the radio buttons and the check boxes, I don't know what I want to do with that. Maybe I'll just leave them blue right now. Button colors, I'm going to kind of leave them gray. These are just normal gray. I don't know why this I wanted this shadow to be gone there. I want a shadow here. Let me turn that off. Shadow, no shadow. This body text shadow. Like normal. Here's the blue for the active state, which would be these. This is kind of what your button would be if you're going to click on it. I don't know. We could change that if we want. Let me try that. Should we do a national park green? That'd be too much green. We're already using brown. Maybe I will use the default blue. Should I do it? That would be the color of the button itself. No? I don't know why it's still blue. Maybe I'll leave it blue. How about a darker blue? Different blue. Okay, well, whatever. So I just wanted to adjust it a little bit again. We got A, and then we have some links. And then, of course, I'm going to download it as a zip, give it a name, and then download it onto my computer. And once you download it on your computer, again, you can find where it goes. It goes, of course, into your downloads folder on these computers. You can find downloads. And if I open that up, you'll notice that it gives you an index file with all the different options in there. Oh, I like the dark blue there. That's not too bad. And then my link is not too bad there. And of course it says it worked. Once you open up that, you can copy the actual, the code that came with it. And then you can go and I'm going to take that content and put it in the folder that I'm building my website. Again, it's under February 23rd. I made a folder, and so I'm going to drag that in there. And then, of course, I'm cheating and using Dreamweaver a little bit. We all love to cheat a little bit. Now, you don't have to open up this index to start with if you don't want to. You can open it up if you want. One of the things that it gives you is pretty much all the stuff that you want as far as jQuery. It's got all the links that you need and everything. It has the viewport already, so the index file that did come with the download of the zip file actually has everything you pretty much need. It even starts with a data roller with a page. It has a header. It has a position of inline. It has some headline, and it has a content, and then it includes all these things. You can delete all these if you don't need them, which I'm going to delete right now. I'm going to delete everything from the content down to here, I guess. Let me see. Is that where I want? Yeah. So it actually had started, again, I started with the index file that was downloaded from the theme roller. I opened it up in Dreamweaver, and the only thing I removed from it was the stuff that's in the content section. Next, I'm going to go and work with another SVG real kind of quick. If you go to the internet, you can actually find, and I go to Google, you can actually find the National Park. I'm going to use National Park logo SVG. So I'm going to use the standard National Park logo SVG. And this is not it right here. You actually have to go. If you download this, it downloads as a PNG. But there is a way to get the SVG file. Maybe it's this one. Is a vector and should be played. Here it is. Let me see. The National Park shaded is a vector version of the file and should be placed in raster image when not inferior. So let me see if I can download this as an SVG. It's not telling me now. I'm still not download this one. No. It's got all these other formats in here. Download, what's this? Oh, here we go. Creative Commons SVG URL. Download this. I was able to download it. Let me see. I don't know. It doesn't look right. Let me see if it opens in Illustrator. Yeah, it didn't work. I did find it at one point. I don't know how I got it. It was on this website. Somehow I got the SVG off this website. I don't know how I did it. Oh, here, original file. Maybe this is it. What's that?
It says format at the bottom.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so maybe that's this original file, this one right here. Let me see if that one is good. Yeah, that looks better. So I'm just going to change it so I don't have to deal with such a long name. So again, I was able to download that. Let me put that in my folder, and I'm going to put that in my header. And let's type in national. Oh no, what are we doing? We're doing Joshua Tree National Park. And then I wanted to put in the SVG file. So I'm going to put it in next to it, and I did an image. src equals, and I think I called it np. I give it underscore logo dot svg, and then oh, forgot my quote, and then no, it's closing div. Is that all I did? I don't remember. I think I might put it in a div in my original example. But I was able to put the park in there, and then one of the problems you run into is it turns out to be huge. Look at that. It takes up the whole space. And why do I still have a shadow here? I don't know. I wanted that shadow to be gone, didn't I? Damn. I don't know why the shadow still showed up. So how can I resize this? Okay, how can I resize this? Well, last class I gave you sort of an idea of how to resize images, right? In the handout, right? So one way to do it would be to put it into a div with a class, and then a closing div, and then again I'm going to use the style sheet designer inside of Dreamweaver to make my style sheet. So if you remember from last class to use this style sheet designer inside of there, you can put your cursor in where you're working. Like I put my cursor into the div that I just made with my logo inside it, and if I come over to the style sheet designer, I can come over here and say define in page with the little first plus right here. So I'm going to do all internal CSS right now. So I can say define in page, and it gives you the style tag. If you come out down here to the selector, it allows you to choose a selector that you want. Of course, we're doing a class of .logo, like that. And so once I have my logo, and then we might want to do image in there. That's okay. We just say logo. I can then go and adjust the max width did I do? I did, yeah, and I think I did 20%. I think this is what I did before. Let me see if that works. No, it's still Bennett Pig. How did I change that? No, I changed it. Like I just gave it a width. No, it didn't work. I know I did it. Let me get my example that I have in my chip. I can't remember. I was able to change the size. I can't remember which one I was working with. No, I did give it a width. Oh, but I give it an image. And I'll image. Did I have to give it an image? Maybe I messed up down here. That's all I did. I did the same thing there. Oh, it's definitely smaller, and it's scalable, but it's still too big. I don't know. Well, let's just put like 7% in for right now. I don't know. I'll have to adjust that. That's a little better. It's too small. I ain't gonna worry about it right now, but you are able to put an image up here. You can adjust the position of it. I was able to adjust it so it's even up here even, or down next to it, or even on this side over here. Yeah?
You can set a minimum width, so it can't go smaller than, or larger than something a max width.
Max width or min width?
Yeah.
Ten? What do you think? 10? No pixels. I don't know. Should I leave this blank? It's a little better. I'd have to give it some margin maybe and position. Okay, let's just move on. You can adjust your header in many different ways. Let's get down to the content. So I wanted to make a navigational bar. So in this case, you can have what my goal would be. Here's where my goal would be. My goal would be is that you would be able to make a web page that looks kind of like this. So again, you have your logo at the top. You can have a search bar if you wanted. Okay, it jumps down to the bottom. It has a burger menu. It has a nice photo. The photo scales. Last class we saw how to scale the photo. That doesn't look like it's scaling. It's cropping it. But we looked about how to scale a photo. So it's kind of cropping it. how to do this kind of menu. Today we'll talk about this kind of menu right here. You'll see how to do that inside of jQuery. And then of course we talked a little bit about text last time. There's different types of text. Nice line height. I like the line height here. Some nice pictures. Oh, these pictures scale. Okay, I remember doing the scaling picture right before we left last class. And so, you know, they have a link here. So basically they have some text, then they have a picture, then they have a link, and then they have some text, picture, link, and then they have some other links towards the bottom. These are full pictures. I want to talk about how to do that next week, where you can have a full picture as the button. And then of course they have two kind of columns here. I think did I give you a handout on columns, or I showed you how to do a column, I think. And then there's a search box, and then again here's the logo in the top, and then some links. So, you know, hopefully just using the jQuery content, you're able to make a page that looks like that. Okay? So let's look at some of the things that you're looking at right here. So in addition, you can go and let's go to the page. And so I want you to practice. If you look at the content that they have here, and what you probably should do is just go through all of the examples that are on the website and just see how they work. Again, under the demo here. The first one I want to cover would be, of course, the list for navigation. So probably the most common way of doing you know, some kind of navigation is to use either a button. The button's right here. And then so if you click on a button, you can make yourself a nice easy button. I think we did this last class. Again, you can steal the source here. You can see there's two ways to make a button. One could be a link, or the other one could be just the word button right here. So if you copy the link right here, you can then go right back to your Dreamweaver and paste it in there. And of course I don't want these numbers here. And you can have a link right here, and we can give it a name. And so that's one kind of square button. Another type of button, of course that's not square, is you can use yourself a round button right here, a round button. And so if you want to try that, I would copy that. And you can try a round button. Next thing you can do is you can add ones that actually have some style to them, which could be one with a button in it, and you can have a combination of them. This one is an anchor button right here, and notice it has a little icon right here, so you can have icons inside of your buttons if you want. How you can add an icon to your button is, it's actually, there's a couple different ways. One way is of course you can tell it what kind of button it is. You'll notice it says delete right here. That's a type of button. There's also left arrow, right arrows, up arrow, down arrow. You can make your own kind of button. You'll notice it also says left. That's the position of where it is within the button itself. Okay, so if you are using this, you can actually see and read this. Again, there's arrows, and this is just a delete button. A delete button is a little X that looks like that. So if you wanted to try that, you can actually copy that one, and you can put it into your navigational bar that way. And again, that is a delete icon. And if you see, and then this is and you can put it in that way. And if you look at what we got so far, if I can preview, too many things go in here. And if we look at what we got so far, you have different kinds of buttons right here. We got a square one, we have one with round edges, you have one with a icon right here. Notice how the one with the icon is a little bit off center, but this is an easy way to make a navigational bar. Of course, I'm using several different types of styles to that. And again, you can change the position of the icon that you want. Okay. And of course, they have different shadow options and so on. Again, if you want to try different type of icons for, you can go down to where it says icons right here. Icons in this list here. If you go down to where it says icons right here and say icons, it'll show you a list. So you don't have to use the closed one. You got a calendar one, you got bullets, you got a little camera one right here. It's just called camera. So if you go over to your code and you said you wanted to use the camera, where I was said it's using the word delete here, you put in the word camera. Like that. You put in the word camera and you save it and you preview it, and you'll have a camera icon. Okay? Next week I'll show you how to make your own icons using Icon Moon. ICO Moon. Okay, you got to use Illustrator, so you might want to think about how to draw your icon yourself. Okay, so you can make your own icons in there. Let's talk about if you look at the National Park one, you can also have this one. See how it goes across like this? See how it goes across like this? So you can make a menu that looks like that as well. To make a menu that looks like this, that goes across your bar. If you look in the and let me go back here. Oh, where was I at? Where is it? I want. I know I was making that. Which one was it? Was it in buttons? Navigation. No, I don't think it was there. List view. It was under list widget. List? No, this is a list I'm using right now. This is not a button. This is another way to make a list. I'll go over that in a minute. I was making navigation bars that went across using nav widget, maybe? Nav bar. Where is it? Nav bar.
Oh, under nav widget. Go up one to nav widget.
Which one?
I think it was under nav widget.
Nav bar widget? Oh, it was there. I was just there. Oh, I was just there, wasn't I? I saw it. No, it wasn't here. Oh, I had a one that went across. No, hold on. Fudge. Yeah, the nav bar widget. The one that says nav bar widget right here. So again, you can see you can have 2, or you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, as many as you want. 5 items across, as many you want. You can actually have multiple rows. But of course, the cool one is the one with the icons, right? Just like you saw in the National Park one, right? Remember in the National Park one, there was one with icons? So again, you got the standard ones, or you can actually set your own icons. And they go over here. Here it is, and they have a place where you can download and buy icons, or you can make your own icons. Is what I'm trying to say. Because you might want to make your own. I like the coffee one. Who likes the coffee? Coffee one? Okay. So again, you can set the position of where the icon is. Again, either below or above. It's probably the most common. What was it like on the National Park one? What was it? Oh, they're below. See that? They're kind of below, aren't they? So would be this one right here. And so again, it's using a nav bar is the code here, and it's in a footer down there. And so they're putting in a footer so that it's at the bottom. And in fact, what you could do is you can make a footer one that stays there. It's locked there, and as the people scroll, it stays there. Yes? What's that? It's just called camera. C-A-M-E-R-A? Camera? I put the camera icon in the example, I had a little X, right? I don't know. I put the word camera in there, and the camera showed up. Did you get a little X? I just typed the word camera in here instead of, what was it, delete? I think the first one was what, delete? Like that, delete. Okay, well, let me finish, and I will come and see if I can fix yours. Okay, let me go with the navigational bar here. So again, if you notice the code that they have here is they have a div data role footer. Now, a very common way of doing a navigation in a mobile app would be to have the navigation stuck at the bottom at all the time. Okay, so you can actually have the footer be on the screen the whole time, as well as the header, and you would have it as fixed size so it doesn't move. Right now it kind of scrolls. Even with the Joshua Park one, or Joshua Tree National Park, it kind of scrolls, right? The header here, if you move down, notice it goes. But you could have this stuck there where you make it fixed position, right? You know how to do that in CSS, right? A fixed position, right? You can do fixed. So, if you want it to be fixed, I think we could just, where am I at? Page header. What was it? Fixed, right? I'll have to think about that. But there's a way to make it fixed up there. Right now it scrolls, and the reason why I'm pointing that out is sometimes this bottom part is fixed at the bottom of your window. You might have seen that before. And so if you wanted that kind of thing to go there, you could tell it to be fixed position. So let me get the navigational bar. If I can find, I lost my jQuery content here. No. 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 Where is it? So I'll have to go back to the page. I don't know how I lost it. Oh, here it is. So again, I was looking at so I'm not going to use footer right now because I want it to go along. So I'm going to go, it's a UL. Can't really copy this, can I? Not copying all this extra crap. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it into my code after my last link here. And of course I don't need all this stuff. And so again, I'm going to do div data role navbar, and then icon position bottom. Again, would put the icon below. You can icon position top. Again, they're using the standard icons. They got a grid, they got a star. So if you had it going to a, again, you can put the camera down here. You can put the camera. And oops. There we go. And then this one says it's active, and it's a star. And then whatever, a gear for setup. And so you can make yourself a nice navigational bar that kind of goes across the page. Right here you see, and this one's highlighted because it says it's active, right? You can see the active, whatever the code is here. There we go. See how it says UI button active? If you get rid of that, it won't be highlighted. So if you get rid of that, if you go back to your code, if you turn this off right here, they'll all be the same. So that's the reason why it was there. So again, you have, of course, navigational bar that can go across the page. You got navigational bar that goes down the page. The colors are all driven by the theme that you made at the beginning. So really you should think about your theme at the beginning. That's where this ugly green is here.
How do you adjust the header size?
Oh, I don't know. That's
Because mine is showing like this, so.
oh, I don't know. I gave it a div. You're gonna have to go through CSS to make that. Yes, Miranda.
How do you control if it goes up and down or side to side?
What do you mean go up and down the side?
Like
What?
the navigation bar.
Well, these are just buttons.
Oh, it's on that.
These are just buttons, and this is called a navigational bar. So that the reason why it goes across because of this. It says navigational bar. The reason why it goes down is it's just a link, and it's called a button right here. Right? This one has round corners. This one has an icon. Remember it had said delete here and I changed it to camera. So the reason why it goes across is because it says navigational bar here. And then you have a list. The list goes across. A UL list. Let's put a picture in. How about that? Like we did right before we left last class. So we have some navigational bars that go horizontal or vertical, and then we have navigational bars that can go horizontal. If you look at the page over here again, the National Park page that we have, my ugly National Park page, but this one, you have this nice photo right here and some text. Let's steal the text. In fact, let's take all the text. So let's steal some of this text and put it under our navigational bar. So I'm going to copy that text, and I'm going to go underneath my my nav bar, and I can put my text in there. Okay, and if I preview that, let's see how ugly it looks. And you'll notice it kind of all runs together because it has no styling. It has the default styling. So if I wanted to change it, I could give it some header, right? So maybe I can hide. Let me keep this one over here. I can highlight my text up here, and I can give it an H2 maybe. And then I can give this a P tag, right? And a closing P tag. And I can see what that looks like. So, style some text. Oh, I didn't want that. I just want to move it over. Again, now it has a little styling, right? Because I gave this text a H2, and now this has the paragraph tag. Notice how it has a little margin on the edge here now, right? So that doesn't look too bad. Of course, if I made better color theme, this would look a lot better. You guys should really think about how to make your theme and practice that. Okay, so just like in the National Park one, we have some text. Now, of course, they have adjusted this a little more. They probably have some more styling to the text, because this is quite nice text, right? Where mine is just a plain P tag and a plain H2 tag, right? Mine isn't very nice. Okay, let's put a picture in. So we want to do a photo that can scale like we did last class. Remember doing that right before we left? So again, the same thing. You can do that. Again, I'm going to put a picture in using my image. Oh, I don't even have a picture, do I? Hold on. I have to find a picture on my computer. I got to find a picture. There's a picture. Oh, I guess I could just steal one from their website. Let me go steal one. Oh, how about which one you want? The coyote? Let's do that one. It's a JPEG, animal JPEG. And what was I making? The National Park. Oh, this is it. So, you want me to do two? Let's steal this picture. So again, I know my header's messed up. You're gonna have to go through and adjust that. I just haven't had time to do that. But let's put in some pictures. And what were we putting in? What was it called? Animal, right? And you can actually not even give it some CSS. You can put width here. I think we did that last class, right? Width of 100%. Did we do that like that last class? And so we have our coyote, and he's scalable. Okay, it's totally scalable. Okay, not even using CSS. I just slapped it in there and told it to have a width of 100%. How did I do that? Again, in the code, I just have an image src to the animal with a width of 100%. W-I-T-H, 100%. Totally scalable animal. Looks kind of like, where was I? Oh, there we go. So here's my example, and then here's their example, right? You can slap in some HTML in there if you like, if you want to split it up with a line. How would I put a line across my page? Horizontal rule, maybe? Right? You guys all made lines before? I mean, I can simply go in here and let's say I'm going to do another section and I want a line in between there. I can do my HR for horizontal rule, right? And you should be able to mix your HTML in there. And it's down here, but I don't have any content. But wouldn't that be nice? I'm going to go get some other content. Well, let's just copy this content. I'm going to copy this and then put it under my horizontal rule. And what we're going to do, camping. Did I download a camping picture? What other picture did I download? I downloaded a coyote, and what else? Downloaded two things, didn't I? What was the second thing? Shit, I forgot what I downloaded. What's it? It was a coyote. Oh no, this isn't. I downloaded a coyote and oh, the trees. And oh, there's not much content there. Whatever. We can shorten this up maybe a little bit. I have so much text. Whatever. I'm gonna make it a little shorter. Let's put another picture in there. I think I called it trees. Right? Did I call it trees? Oh, I guess we can browse. No. Really? What did I call it? Trees. I did. All lowercase. So again, I have two pictures. They scale at 100%. I have some text. I have some subheading. If I go and save this and preview it now, you see I got my header, which needs some CSS work. Hopefully you understand. Hopefully I can figure that out to make it better. You got some navigation, which we don't have going anywhere right now, but we will have it going. And then we have a picture that's scalable. We have some text. We have a subhead. We have a line that goes across. The dividing line is very easy to do with basic HTML, which is a horizontal rule. Okay, let's make a second page. Okay, so right now we only have one page, right? What if I click on look at a map and I want to have a map in there? So let's make a second page and we'll then have a transition. So the transitions, when you go from one page to another, you can put in some kind of wipe, fade, flip. I don't remember. There's a whole bunch of them. So let's go to look at a map, and we'll go and put a map from Google and put it in there. So I'm going to make a second page now. We have one page. It's working okay. Let me see. Is it this one that I was working on? Yeah. So I have one page so far. I can save that. and we can call it index working. No, we'll just leave it index. That's okay. We've been messing that up. Yeah. Let's go and make a second page, and this is what we'll call it map. For a map page, so I'm going to make a second page. To make the second page, I'm going to kind of just remove all this junk that we have in here. I'm going to remove all this, all the way up to my, of course I'm going to keep my header there. Where am I going? I'm going all the way up here. I'm going to go all the way up here to my content. I'm going to delete that, and so let's put in some text. I'm going to put a subhead in there. I'm going to do an H2 like that, and then they say map of the park, and I'll close my H2 tag. Now to put in a map, I'm going to go and steal the map from Google. To steal the map from Google, you can just go to Google. So I'm going to go and steal the map from Google. Go to Google. And let's go to Joshua Tree National Park, and then we will go into maps. So here's a map. That's a map of the West Valley. Joshua Tree, there we go. Okay, so let's go to our maps. Okay, so if we want to take this map and put it onto our page, we can simply use the share button that we have right here, right? And if I'm going to embed it into my code, I'm going to use the embed option. So I'm going to put it into my app here by going there. It comes with an iframe option right here, iframe. I can copy that on my computer. I can go back to my my code, and I can paste my map in there. Okay, so now I have a map. Now the problem is, of course, it's not scalable. It's putting it at width of 600 by 450, right? Okay, so do you think we could put a percentage in there? I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried. I'm going to try it. Let's put a percent. So we don't want to give it any height. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try it, and let's see if we can put 100% in there like that. I don't know. Can't hurt to try. So let's save that, and then let's see what it looks like. And oh yeah, it's a scalable map, but it's the height is not very good. We could probably give it a minimum height, maximum height. How do you think I could fix the height? So it's a little bit better ratio.
Same thing for the height?
100% for the height would fill it maybe. Oh, maybe. I don't know. That might be a good idea. Yeah, let's try that. That's good. That's a good idea. Let's try it. Now, didn't give me any. There should be a way to make this a little bigger, but at least we got a map in there. Okay, so let's try link. We should have a link back to the main page. Let's put it underneath. Let's put it at the top of my content here. Again, if you're going to put a button in there, it's going to be what was it? Data roll. But no, how did I put a button in there? I can't even remember. How do I put a button in there? There we go. Class button. Here, copy this. Just change it. Put it in there. Oh, not there. Here. And then we'll go back to index. Okay, so I'm just putting some basic links to go back to the home page. And then let's go to our index page. So when the person clicks on the map, we want to go to that page. Where is it? Here it is. Look at a map. So again, I think I called it map.html, right? Map.html. So right now, if we don't give it any transition, and if you don't know what a transition is kind of built into the jQuery, where it can do like a fade or a flip or a thing. If you don't give it any of that, it actually has a default one. So if we preview this right now and go to Firefox and we click on look at a map, and this should go to that page we just made, you'll notice it faded to it. Did you see that? And if I go back, do you notice it faded, 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 faded? Okay, so we're just going back and forth between two pages now. Now, you can go and change that by giving it a transition, and you can see all the different transitions. Actually, I'm going to put the transition here in the front here. Here. Data. I can't remember where's the transition page here. They have a bunch of transitions. And what's that? I put the map has an iframe. Yes, it's embed using an iframe. Okay, so you can have a whole bunch of different transitions. If I can, oh, there they are. Thank you. Transitions here. So again, you have all these different ones. You got fade, pop, flip, turn, slide, fade, slide, slide up, slide down, and none. And it's just a basic data transition right here. This is the code. Data transition with a dash between it. So it's data dash transition. Oh, I'm spelling it right. Wait, transition. And then they have some built-in ones right here, and then you can use the other ones. So if you want a slide is a very popular one. A lot of apps do a little slide across, right? So you can just do a slide there, and so if you preview it now inside of Firefox, you can then go to the map. You can go to the map and it slides. Okay, so you can have data transitions that go between. The slide is a not bad one. I like the slide. I'm used to the slide. Okay, so again, you can do different transitions. You can do nice text. You can have your scaling picture. You can put an HR rule between there. What are some of the other things that they have on their website? They got a rollover effect for a link. Of course, I'd probably have a default one, because if I gave this a link inside here, it'll probably be brown. Remember, in my theme, I chose brown or something, right? So if you wanted the Mojave and Colorado ecosystem, we can put a link in there. So again, you can go over to your content and you can give yourself a link, and we can go and find a link.
Do they have banners that go over images?
Banners. If I was going to have text that goes over image, I would put the image as a background to a div, and then I would put my content over top of that.
So jQuery doesn't have anything for that?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. But I'm assuming that if you wanted to have content or links over top of an image, I would use the background image to a div tag, and then I would put the links over top of that, or text over top of that. We can do that next week. I was planning on demonstrating how to make a navigational bar with images, doing that technique where I would have an image as the background. So instead of having the ugly white, Susan, instead of having the ugly white buttons that we're looking at, you can have an image back there. Yeah. Yes?
In regards to having a header and the head section, the footer, all on different pages, like the same thing, wouldn't it be easier to just use PHP includes?
Or just have a navigation inside the page.
Yeah,
You could do, yeah.
yeah, I'm using PHP.
What's the navigation inside the page?
So instead of
'Cause I mean, if you
doing separate pages, you can just
just
include.
have one.
Because if you were to update your theme in the
Yeah, no,
code, you have to go
PHP
through
is
every
such a nice
single
way to,
page.
I think the PHP is so elegant that it requires, you can't test it locally and everything.
Yeah, it depends on, yeah.
It has to be,
Well, now the newer version has a built-in server kind of thing.
what's that?
The newer version of like Dreamweaver has built-in server capabilities. Okay, let's continue where I was going to go and put in a link, right? So, Colorado Desert. Woo, not that one. Not that one. How about we just go to Wikipedia? So again, we can copy a link and put it into our page. And of course, you can open it in a new window if you want, or you could just have a plain link if you want. So I can have a separate. And so my link should be brown now, right? There it is. It's nice and brown. Kind of goes with the look of the picture, right? You got a brown there and brown there. So the brown link comes from the theme that I chose at the beginning. Okay, so choosing your theme at the beginning is very important. And again, you got nice pictures, you got a nice text, and you can choose which kind of navigational bar you want. Again, these kind of horizontal ones have problems, of course, with text. You would have to try and get a way to get the text to fit in there. Maybe scale it, and then you can have different kind of icons if you want to use an icon in your navigation. The little arrow is a very popular one, right? If you look at the here, you'll notice you have arrows. So we're going to look at how to do forms next, and so on. So as far as what you should practice, you should be practicing trying all the different options that you could have here. There's a whole bunch of them, and you can implement them right into a page right here, like I have just did today, right? The key to making the header might be to of course, put some CSS in there. Yes, Miranda? What's that? Well, the iframe can be put anywhere, right? If I go to a map here, this is just an iframe. It's code that I stole from Google, right? So if you go to if you go to Google Maps, and I just, what's that? I just went to Google Maps and then go to share, right? And then embed, and it gives you an iframe. And that's how I put the map in. I copied this and put it into the code. Yes?
If you have to do a CSS for the header, you have to say data role header or just a header style?
I don't know. I fight with headers all the time. There's different ways of doing it. You could put multiple divs in there to have things next to each other, and so on like that. Okay, I'm gonna stop here now, and hopefully you have an idea of what you should be practicing. Again, you should, in my mind, you should be able to make a page that hopefully nicer looking than mine. This is pretty ugly, but you can see very simple ways. You should be able to do some CSS. Hopefully you learned some CSS, but implement some of the jQuery built-in things like this right here. You got all kinds of built-in things. You should be able to implement those in there. I mean, with the National Park page, if you look at this, what was I going? Oh yeah, what was I going? The Joshua Tree? mean, these are basic things. And you see it's a very simple page. It scrolls, scaling images, links. They have this is just some text with some CSS around it. That's all that is. This is just a picture with a little rollover effect that makes it scale a little bit. That's actually built into jQuery. And then I think last week I talked about, or at the beginning of the week I talked about how you can do things next to each other like this using the columns. Was it columns? I think it was. I forget, but yeah, I think it's columns for this. I've had many students do that just with simple code, and then you got your basically Twitter links, and then they have a footer down here with a search box, a logo, and then just some more column stuff. I mean, in theory, you should be able to make something that looks like this, and that's what you should practice. It's going to rain all weekend long. You should spend 5 hours trying to make something like this. You should. Okay.